Well, it took a little while, but we're finally at our first great episode of the season. And this is a great episode. Is it a perfect episode? No. Does it still have some problems? Yes. But in my opinion, it doesn't hold back a very strong main plot. What do I mean? Well, let's discuss. What's up? What's happening? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Animation Station Wizards for anything and everything animation, and welcome to my review of the 4th episode of Season 3 of Miraculous Ladybug, titled Backwarder. Yeah, it's a weird name, I know, but you'll understand it when we get into it. So, let's go ahead and dive into it, because there's a lot to unpack in this episode. First up is our basic synopsis from Netflix. After Marinette mixes up some messages, which had a love letter from Master Fu to this new character, a love letter from Marinette to Adrian, and a list for pharmacy stuff for Master Fu, who was having a stomachache. She gets these all mixed up, and it causes an old love of Master Fu named Marian to become Backwarder, who wields a magic wand that can steal time from others and sends them backwards in time while the rest of the time keeps moving forward. Yeah, it's another time-centered villain, and I don't think it's quite as great as, what was it called? Time Tagger, I think? It was an episode in Season 1. What was it? Time Tagger? Where was it? It was Time something. Time Breaker. That's what it is, Time Breaker. Not quite as great as Time Breaker. I gave that episode a 10, but still a pretty good episode. Why did I think there was an episode called Time? I don't know. I will fix my brain after this recording. So, the episode starts off with a flashback, taking place during World War II, where Marian and Fu have to say goodbye to each other and part ways to, escape the Nazis. Yeah, this doesn't shoehorn the fact that this takes place in World War II and that the Nazis were in France at the time. That is, for one, very ballsy to put in a show aimed at kids, but also it adds more depth to this love story. And yes, it is a love story. It's very much in the background of this episode, but it's very much a love story. Not to mention, Marian knows about the Miraculous. She doesn't know the secret identities of Ladybug and Cat Noir, but she knows about the Miraculous and she knows about their power. So, that's another interesting little thing about this episode. Meanwhile, Marinette has an emergency meeting with her girls to try and once again keep Kagami and Adrian from spending time together. Because Marinette is very, very jealous of Kagami giving so much attention to Adrian, because she's still crushing on him. So it honestly makes a lot of sense. But it is a little bit petty of Marinette, but she does kind of pay for it in the funniest way they could have done it. In other words, instant karma. What happens is, Adrian and his dad are going on this train with Kagami and her mom. Kagami's mom, not Marinette's mom. You know what I mean. And Marinette has three pieces of paper she's given to. She gives herself a love letter that she wrote for Adrian. Then she also gets a letter from Master Fu for pharmacy stuff. And then a second thing from Master Fu, which is a love letter to Marian. And he had already told Marian that he couldn't be there at that specific time. And she understood. She was very kind about it. And she was expecting Marinette's arrival. Marinette gives her the note. Everything looks pretty good. Marian's talking with the guy that turned into Mr. Pigeon, which, nice little background detail. But Marinette, being Marinette, she goofs up something. In this case, she gets all the things backwards. Her love letter to Adrian ends up going to Marion, which is what causes her to get akumatized. She gives Adrian her Master Fu's pharmacy list. Has hilarious results at the end. And then and then she accidentally gives Master Fu's love letter to the pharmacy lady. So, oops. So this all ends up resulting in Backorder, this new akumatized villain, who also reveals that she knows where Master Fu is hiding, which adds more tension to this particular episode. Meaning that after she takes the Miraculous of both Ladybug and Cat Noir, she's going to stay akumatized and lead all the way to Fu's hideout, where Hawkmoth can steal the entire Miracle Box. In other words, there is a lot of tension in this episode, in the fight, and it actually gives it more stakes and thus elevates the fight from just your normal, villain of the week thing. Not to mention the love story thing and the way it contrasts with Marinette actually is really clever. The fight itself is pretty cool. The villain design is really cool. I love Backorder's design and her concept, even though, like I said, there was already a better time villain. And the ending is both hilarious and adorable, where Marinette lies to the girls about having given Adrian her letter and not a pharmacy order. And then Adrian shows up. The girls push Marinette in front of him, and he gives her the pharmacy bag. And of course, Marinette being Marinette, she has no clue how to respond to this, which results in a funny ending. And then the other ending part of the episode where Fu does meet up with Marion after she ends up getting deakumatized. Or de-evilized, whatever. And the two of them make up pretty quickly. So, yeah, everything worked out in the end, but there was definitely stakes and tension in this episode, with, again, Hawkmoth potentially finding out about Fu and where he can steal the Miracle Box, which includes the rest of the Miraculous and the Kwamis to obtain ultimate power. In other words, probably the highest staked fight that Ladybug and Cat Noir have had up to this point. But everything worked out in the end, and it is a very sweet ending. Like I said, sweet and also really funny. So, yeah, it's pretty much Miraculous at its best. It has great visual storytelling, it has great actual, plot, and then the side plot feels just as important as the main plot. The way the two love stories contrast against one another is great. The jokes are surprisingly good in this one too, it's pretty funny. And the ending is both sweet and really, really funny. So, yeah. Not to mention, like I said, higher stakes, higher tension really elevates this episode above most of the other ones from this season. So, yeah, this is a pretty great episode of Miraculous. And, again, this one is definitely pivotal, because it's the first sign that maybe, just maybe, Hawkmoth is getting too close to accomplishing his goal. And that will lead into my final verdict for Backorder on that note, with a strong final verdict of an 8 out of 10. Great episode, the first great one of the season. And would you believe me if I told you that the next episode, the last one I have to review for tonight, is even better? Yeah, I didn't believe it either until I saw it and remembered exactly what episode it was, because, I've been waiting to talk about this particular character for a while. I'll see you next time when we get to Reflect All. I mean, the one with Lady Noir. The one with Lady Noir. Bug out.